What is going on, buddy? Welcome back to All Things Film. Today I'm here to talk about this medical helicopter evacuation for Mr. Rick Grimes. This is a theory that's been pretty popular, recently, and pretty popular in my comment section because I've been making videos about Rick Grimes and why I think it's a high possibility of him surviving. I mean, Andrew Lincoln is leaving confirmed, but there's a possibility of Rick to leave and not die, and a lot of people are bringing up this theory, and I want to talk about it and give you guys my thoughts on it. Just quickly want to say that I'm not the one who made this up, but basically the theory is saying that this helicopter has been attached to Jadis, and this helicopter is gonna be the one that takes Rick away once he gets injured. Now, Rick getting injured, I run down that real quickly. I've talked about that in different videos, but it's pretty clear that Rick Grimes will get injured. Right here we see him, it looks like he's on the ground. He looks like he's injured. There's blood on him. Over here, we see him walking with blood dripping, and these are clearly his shoes and his pants. And it looks like it's a stab wound because the blood is like dripping down pretty fast, like not like a walker bite or anything. And then we see him right here. He's holding his side as well, and there's blood right here on his like upper stomach. So it's pretty clear that he is gonna be injured, and that's when this helicopter gets involved. That maybe this is the helicopter that takes Rick away, because Andrew Lincoln is leaving for sure. But maybe this helicopter is the one that takes Rick away, so he doesn't have to die, and then he can come back, a couple seasons later if Andrew Lincoln wants to return. But let's talk about the helicopter, because we got introduced to the helicopter early on last season in season 8 when Rick was walking to the junkyard and we saw the helicopter behind him, and then we learned more about them as the season went on. We learned during that episode where Jadis captured Negan that the helicopter was coming like to the junkyard, which is a bit odd because it looks like, in my eyes, I feel like Jadis is trying to earn the trust of this helicopter and maybe trying to prove herself to this helicopter, because the first thing that jumps out of the helicopter is Commonwealth, because whoever has the helicopter is pretty well, secured in the Walking Dead. They have good, they're living well in the world, in the apocalypse. So, right here we see this sign right here, not the A, but like the biohazard sign. But that is pretty important because last season Jadis was eating like some canned food. I think it was like pineapple or something, but we see the same exact symbol on that can of food. So whoever gave her this food is the one that is bringing, or like the helicopter is the one that's bringing this food to her, clearly. So whoever owns this helicopter is, doing pretty well in the apocalypse. And the first thing that jumps at us, or at least to me, is Georgie, because Georgie we met last season. She's connected to Maggie. She gave Maggie those blueprints for windmills and a new society. So she carries herself pretty well. She is living as good as you probably can in the apocalypse, wearing a suit and, no worries or anything like that. So, and that's kind of related to the Commonwealth, and I believe it is the Commonwealth. I don't think it'll be like 4 different groups, because that'll be absurd. We got the Whisperers, we got Georgie's group, we got the Commonwealth, and then we got the helicopter people. I think Georgie is connected to that helicopter, and that's one group, and then we got the Whisperers. But we're not going to learn more about Georgie in the group until later on in the seasons, because I've made videos about Lauren Cohen leaving The Walking Dead, and she said her story is going to be open-ended, and my best bet with that is that she's gonna go off with Georgie because they're connected. But the thing is, I feel like, I don't know if this helicopter is going to be a different person or a whole new group. So let me know what you guys think, if it's going to be a whole new group or it's going to be Georgie. I feel like it's going to be Georgie just because it'll be a little weird if they introduce another group on top of Georgie's group and the Whisperers. So I feel like it's going to be the same group. But let's talk about how this group can be involved with Rick Grimes. So once Rick gets injured, it's clear that he's going to walk off. He's bleeding here, but people think he might not die, and he might get taken away with this helicopter to get saved. Now, there is some good and bad to this theory. Now, I'm gonna start off with the good. Is that the good is obviously Rick Grimes is gonna live. So if this happens, I'm gonna be happy. Like, I want this to happen because I don't want to lose Rick Grimes. But if this helicopter comes down and takes Rick, maybe I feel like they would do. Maybe I feel like the helicopter would do this because Rick is pretty well known in The Walking Dead. Like, he is. I mean, it's been like almost like 4 years in the zombie apocalypse, 3 or 4 years. So, Rick, the people who have survived this long, they're pretty well known, and this helicopter or Georgie's group, they're pretty militarized, so I'm sure they would know who people are, and maybe that's part of the reason why, you know, Jadis brought Negan to Georgie, because I was thinking that, you know, because in the comic book series, the Commonwealth are a group that, you know, they really are living like in a society where there's like prison and stuff. Like, yeah, Negan's in prison too, but like a legitimate society where if you're bad, you get thrown in prison. So like I said, these people probably know all these people in all these communities because they're so militarized. They know everything about, you know, this area. So they probably know Negan is a bad person. So maybe Jadis brought Negan to Georgie and them, or I keep saying Georgie, but let's just say the helicopter people. Brought Negan to the helicopter people to maybe earn their trust or maybe prove herself to them. So because the helicopter came and then the helicopter turned around. So I'm not sure what that was about, because you know, right here we see Jadis looking at her watch, like waiting for the helicopter to show up, and there's a reason she captured Negan. I feel like she's trying to prove herself, and that has to do with Negan, and maybe Negan is a bad person, and they want to throw Negan in jail, or maybe interview Negan, because this group is very, like, you know, advanced and very militarized, for at least, and, you know, pretty advanced in technology when it comes to the zombie apocalypse. So I'm sure I wouldn't be surprised if they know who Negan and Rick and Maggie, and I wouldn't be surprised if they know who these people are, because even Georgie was talking to Maggie last season, was like, you know, we've been watching you guys, we know, you know, there's a reason they went for the hilltop, because the hilltop are builders, you know, they're, you know, they build, they farm, you know, their workers are pretty efficient. So there's a reason why Georgie went to the hilltop, not Alexandria or the kingdom. So I feel like whoever this group is, they're watching all these people and they're kind of like taking notes of who's who. So it makes sense to why if Rick gets injured, maybe Georgie in the group or the helicopter group, they would want to save Rick, because Rick is a vital member and he's a, you know, he's a leader, you know, he's somebody who's valuable to the zombie apocalypse, and he can lead people, and look what he's doing so far. So he's a pretty valuable member to the zombie apocalypse. So, you know, if he gets injured, maybe Jadis calls for this helicopter, or maybe the helicopter is watching all of this, you know, unfold, and they see Rick get injured and they follow Rick and help Rick. You know, I love this theory. It's a very interesting theory, and I think it'll be awesome if Rick gets injured, he's lying down there, and we see a helicopter pull up and say, "Come with us, Mr. Grimes," and that's kind of like the end of his story. I think that'll be awesome, because honestly, anything would be better than losing Rick Grimes. And I know a lot of people are commenting that too, saying, you know, I'd love to see the helicopter get involved in Rick, and, you know, Rick have an open-ended story too. So let me know what you guys think about this theory. Be sure to leave your thoughts and opinions. Again, I did not make up this theory. I'm not taking credit for it. It's been all over the internet, so I don't know who came up with it, but I just quickly wanted to give you guys my thoughts on it. So be sure to give your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below about the theory, and I hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you do want more walking the videos like this, stay tuned and subscribe. Thanks for all the support, guys. It's been All Things Film, and until next time, peace.